Welcome fathers who are looking to inspire their kids and become fearless. This is the Become a Fearless Father show and I'm your host, Klaas van Oosterhout. I'm a father of 2 boys, husband and entrepreneur. This show is created to teach you how to take control and enjoy the most difficult job you've ever faced, fatherhood. I'm going to keep it real and share real life experience. A heads up, there is no magic pill. You will have to put in the hours, sweat and tears to achieve victory. Are you ready to improve your health, wealth, relationships, knowledge and become the hero your family needs you to be? I know you are. So get your pen and paper ready and let's become fearless fathers together.
So, welcome everybody to yet another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today I got the pleasure to have my English friend over, Adam French. Thank you so much for being here, man. And let's start off right away with you sharing with us your background story, and then we take this whole interview from there.
Okay, great. So first of all, it's a pleasure, Klaas. Thanks for inviting me. So I run a small business. It's myself, based from home, running a youth organization. And so we do sports coaching with youngsters, as well as youth work programs, mentoring, supporting youngsters on the risk of exclusion from school. I'm father of 2, married for nearly 10 years now, and have a little boy, little girl, 7 and 5 years old.
Nice. I like that, man. Youth organization. Can you share a little bit more about how you got into that?
Yeah, so to be honest, I started doing sports coaching, and that was the kind of first way in. And then I started working with disadvantaged young people doing the sports coaching. And I thought, it just kept evolving and evolving. I worked for a local authority for a number of years. Always knew that I wanted to set up my own business and run my own business, but I just really didn't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And also whether it was a viable option doing youth work and running your own business. So looked at many different avenues and stuff, and it kind of eventually grew into what I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I never really had a master plan to do it, but I loved doing it and enjoyed it. And I kind of thought, when I was younger, in my early 20s, I thought I'd do this now, and then eventually I'd get a real job. And I never really got a real job. I just kind of grew and molded around what I love doing and what I'm passionate about doing. And and it's grown into what it is now.
That's awesome, man. That's like the one thing we're all looking for, right? To find that perfect combination of doing your passion and making it financially viable so you can also take care of, of the family, right? How does that work? Because, youth organization, does that work with you get subsidized from the government, or what kind of system do you have set up where you can make it economically? Because that's sometimes a danger, right? We follow our passion and then economically we're just struggling.
Yeah, for sure. So the business is split into kind of 2 areas. I have like what I call the private work, which is the fee paying work. For example, I ran a holiday camp last week. The parents pay, the kids come, and that's kind of the private section of the business. Then the other side of it is grants and commission-based work from local governments. For example, it might be a holiday camp as well, but the camp will be funded by the local government to run with those youngsters that obviously can't afford to pay, or parents can't afford to pay. So it's kind of staying fluid and flexible, because if you just relied on the grants, especially now with the political system we're in now, you'd struggle as a business.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're able to mix and match, you can kind of do a little bit here, a little bit there, then it can work still.
Yeah, exactly. And you can still make it valuable for everybody, not just for the rich kids, so to say. Might not be that rich, but you know what I mean, right? But you also be able to, because I have a feeling from just you sharing it right now, you really have a passion for helping those underprivileged kids to make sure that they get the same opportunity and be able to benefit from what you teach, right?
100%, man. 100%. It's nothing more rewarding than sort of helping those youngsters, because at the end of the day, the youngsters, their background and what they've gone through, or what they haven't gone through, or what they have or what they don't have, they're just children. They're just children. and we all deserve an opportunity to have some good stuff and some fun stuff as youngsters, So no, definitely 100% passionate about that. But the realistic situation is, if my business was just operating around that, probably go broke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Which we see a lot, right? Because, sometimes you see all those passionate people, and of course, I highly respect that. But there's just, I've learned a lot from a guy named Akbar Sheikh. He's a millionaire, and he gives so much, but he's saying, like, I was broke and giving, but there was not that much to give. However, now that I'm rich, I can actually really start giving. And that ties in a little bit with your wealth concept as well, right? It seems like you got that pretty well down. What's your philosophy on that? What's your philosophy in regards to money and making sure that you have enough, but also you can share with others?
That's an interesting question. No, I do agree with like what that guy said and the guy you just quoted. Mm-hmm. If you are just not, you don't have money, you're not able to offer the opportunities. For example, on my camps, I can offer free places to children or whatever. That comes from being able to be financially sustainable. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I do agree. The more you have, the more you can give. So it's not, in this industry around youth work, people feel kind of guilty about it being a business, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't have a business approach to it, you're not going to survive. So yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. I guess in the industry, especially youth work side, not looking at the sports side, is definitely a debate going on now, because a lot of the charities and so on, they're struggling. They're mm-hmm. really struggling. They don't have the financial support from governments anymore that they used to have. So a lot of the social enterprise kind of endeavors that people are trying, cafes to support the work they do, and small businesses to try and bring in income. It's a real interesting time. If you're entrepreneurial, it's you can make it work. But if you don't have that makeup, then it's a tough time for people, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I appreciate you explaining it like that. That was well explained. I appreciate that, Adam. Thanks. So in that regards, man, what's your, or do you have like a vision? Like, where do you want to take this in like 3 years or 5 years? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm at a little bit of a crossroads with it. And that's hence kind of why I signed up to Killer Instinct and why we met each other through that program is mm-hmm. I definitely feel like the business is nearly 4 years old now. Mm-hmm. And I've just kind of gone from hand to mouth and been very kind of reactive. And I think that's my skill set. And I've been good at that, spotting an opportunity, building a project, working on that. But I definitely want to be a bit more strategic in my approach moving forward, a bit more long-term thinking with it. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely one of the main reasons why I signed up to the Killer Instinct program, to get support on that and get the kind of structure and routine into my day to be looking more long-term.
Exactly. Yeah, to make sure that you have the combination between what's going on right now, but also working what you're doing right now in a vision to how you want everything to look in the long run, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I know my skill set now is I'm very good at like leading a small team, but managing a team and being detached from the work and kind of helping it grow and stuff. I know I struggle with that, because if I'm in it and I'm working and I've got a team around me, I'm passionate, I can see the kids, I can see everything that's going on, that inspires me. But a few years ago when the project was getting bigger and bigger, if I become too removed from it, then I lose that kind of inspiration, that momentum. So it's, but I don't know. I know if I want to be more successful and I want to bring in more income, that's where I have to go with it. So,
exactly. Yeah. And tying up again, that more income for you means also that you can grow and reach out to more children.
Yeah, exactly. And more kids are benefiting. Yeah.
I like that, man. I like that. Thanks, Adam. So in that regards, because just a real background for the people, right? Because you're talking about Killer Instinct and maybe people are like, what is he talking about? So I went through this already. It's a coaching program from Niji Sobo, from I'm Not You, absolutely off the chain. It changed my life completely to where I am today as Become a Fearless Father. So I found my passion and my path through Killer Instinct, and for Adam, it's just meaning that he's going to explode his passion even more. So anybody that's interested, I'll put down a link later on, and you can check it out for yourself. Niji is absolutely fantastic. So it's nice to hear that you're really trying to form your, I'm not sure if Niji talked about that yet, but form your systems that are going to help you propel forward. So that's absolutely awesome. In that regards, man, I want to talk to you because I saw some of your pictures in Facebook, and you just, in every single picture, you look fit. So does that have something to do with no, let me rephrase that. What's your intention with in regards to sports health and youth? What are you trying to achieve for the kids?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've always been passionate about sports myself and fitness. I played football for a number of years. I just literally in May last year hung up the boots and retired from playing football. So my son's 7 years old now. So I kind of stopped my football and started his football team. And always said when that day come when he was ready to play, then I would stop, because it was a lot of time outside the family going off and playing football. So I switched my training a little bit now into the gym training, so trying to stay fit through that. But I just passionately believe that healthy body, healthy mind is, and also just a hobby. When I see youngsters, if a youngster's got a hobby, doesn't matter what the hobby is, they're just driving towards a purpose rather than floating and kind of not really having that structure through their week, and that can lead to real negative things. So giving youngsters, it could be fishing, it could be football, it could be running, it could be whatever. It doesn't really matter. If they've got a passion and something that they're working towards, I think it's needed for all youngsters, really.
Absolutely. Yeah, I 100% agree. I was actually, while you were talking and getting into my mind, like in the Netherlands, we're having a lot of trouble with groups of kids sitting, after they went to school, sitting just out in the street and just doing tons of stupid stuff. Let's call it that, bothering people, bothering store owners, etc., etc. And yeah, I can agree, right? That's where that comes from. Now, if you focus and give them that passion on sports, they will no longer be there, and you'll be a solution towards problems that we're facing nowadays with the youth, correct?
Yeah, for sure. So we do a project we do an area of work, it's called detached youth work. Mm-hmm. So our workers will go around the streets with those youngsters that you're talking about, kind of engage with them there and then, talk to them about what they want to do and try and direct them to something, So the perfect example, the kiddie's got football training after school, or the girl's got, basketball training. Mm-hmm. She gets on a bike, finishes school, goes home, gets something to eat, and then goes to training. The kids without the hobbies, without the, it doesn't always have to be sports. I think sports is good for the mind, doing the physical activity, but it doesn't have to be. It can be an arts class, it could be writing, it could be whatever. But those kids that are lost, that are just kind of no real purpose, somebody else will give them a purpose if they don't have a purpose, And that there's a lot of negative stuff that can go on when they're left in that vulnerable state of just hanging around doing nothing, really.
Absolutely. Man, I like that. If I had a hat, I would take it off for you, because I love that project here, and I wish you best of luck with that. I hope it grows out to where what you're going to envision for that later on in the future. That's perfect.
Yeah, great.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. I know you're really enjoying the show. Just want to make sure, if you're liking this information, please subscribe and press the like button. And also, go visit becomeafearlessfather.com. You get the opportunity to share your biggest challenge at the moment as a father, and it gives me the opportunity to try and help you overcome this. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the show.
You mentioned, one second. I got to say something to all you silly Americans. Football means soccer, okay? So I got a lot of American viewers. They might not be on now. They might be on later. Football is soccer, Okay, but football is what it actually is called. So we don't have a discussion later on. All right. It reminds me of that movie Hooligan. You've probably seen it, right? Where he's
Yeah.
discussing with the American what football actually is. So brilliant. So you mentioned, right? Yeah, you're still going to the gym and stuff like that. So many fathers don't. So many fathers are out of shape, and you're trying to help the kids to get in shape, get that passion, right? Well, what's your view on that in regards to being the right example or teaching your children how to be healthy? Because you just mentioned your son is also playing football. Is your daughter doing any sports?
Yeah, so she's really passionate about gymnastics. So she loves that. She's 5. She does tennis as well. And yeah, she kind of does a little bit of everything at the moment because she's just 5. So gymnastics is something she's done for the last couple of years. She's really good at that. She loves that. But yeah, she does tennis club on a Friday. And yeah, she's kind of finding her way. I do football with her on a Monday after school with her friends from school. So I go into the school and do like an after school football thing. And yeah, it's kind of we'll see where that goes with her. She kind of likes it, but she's not mad for it yet, you know. But she's still young.
So you're still trying to find what kind of passion she has for which sport, correct?
Yeah, for sure. She's kind of great at, like, she's really good at all of them, and she does running as well. And but like my son is literally, he's obsessed with football, but that come recently. That's not something he was kind of from a young age. So it's okay. We'll just wait and see what gymnastics seems to be her favorite at the moment. She loves that.
Nice. So I'm just wondering, man, because you used to play football and now your son's playing football. You hear so many times of parents, or especially fathers, that had that sport, right? Either it's football or basketball or American football, whatever it is, right? And that's what they focus on. That's what is always on the TV, and they're really pushing their child towards, that's what you should also do because daddy loved it. What's your view on that? And how did then, because you just mentioned like my son's passion for football just came recently. So I'm just wondering, how did that grow? Was that something that
It's really interesting, Klaas, because I did it when he was 3, because I thought, father, I've got a boy. Like, I love my football. I've got my boy now. This is it. Great. We're going to get him into football. So I did a football session for 3 to 6-year-olds, and I was taking him, and it was just hard work. Like, you see all these other kids that were like mad for football, and he wasn't bothered. He wasn't bothered. And then I kind of had this reality check that, like, that's my passion. That's not his. So I just took the foot off the gas with it, really, and just he went to gymnastics. We just set him in swimming. He did tennis. He loved tennis, and I thought, right, okay, it's going to be more an individual sport that he's going to like. It's not going to be a team sport. And so I just was conscious not to push it, because I've seen other guys do that, and it might not be at 7, it might be at 10, it might be at 12, but the kids eventually, they're going to reject it. If it's you pushing them, they're going to come away from it. So we just kind of let it. And then he said to me last year, he was like, "Oh, Daddy, I want to do football. But I said to him, maybe I'll take you to somebody else do it." He's like, "Oh, I want you to do it. Because we did it before. And I said to him, I don't really want to do it, because what I didn't want to happen is I'd set up a team, would end it, and then he decided he didn't want to go. Then I'm left with the responsibility of running the team with other people's children. So I said to him, okay, we'll set it up. We'll do some training. We won't enter the league and see where it goes. And literally the World Cup last year, just something switched where he was just like, went from being a little bit interested to like, now if you ask him, what's Messi's date of birth? When's Kevin De Bruyne born? How many goals did Robin van Persie score for Arsenal? Like, he like literally knows it all. He's completely obsessed now. So I think because I allowed him to go find it his own way and not push him, I think he's come back full circle to it, rather than if I'd have persisted and make him go, he would have fallen out of love with it completely.
Exactly. I like that. And especially that, I used to be really passionate about soccer. I lost it because of whatever goes around the soccer, especially the violence. And I am looking at my son and I'm like, I don't know. I want him to find his passion. I'm just still struggling a little bit on how to present different sports, so he can find that passion. So he knows what there is, right? He used to play a little bit of soccer. I didn't like the coach, so I took him off it. And he wasn't. He was looking at the cars, the cars out in the street instead of kicking the ball. So now he's doing karate,
Yeah.
and he's okay. Like he likes it, but it's not like I don't see that passion, right? It's not like he comes home and he trains katas and that stuff. It's just like, okay, he goes Monday, Wednesday, and he enjoys it, and that's it. So I'm just wondering, like, did that come because you mentioned just the World Cup and that's when his passion completely bloomed? Is it just like they just pick it up and we just shouldn't worry and let them go? Or should we be like, hey, look, this is karate, this is tennis, this is gymnastics? What's your thought?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. If I use Leo, my boy, as an example, I think I give up on football with him. Like, not give up, but I kind of accepted in my mind that he wasn't going to be like that passionate about football. And I think that really helped him just find it. Obviously, I always was that parent that, okay, Monday is this club, Tuesday is this club, like, just, you know what I mean? We take him to a lot of stuff. You know, and that's full on because they go to swimming, tennis, gymnastics. Leo was doing gymnastics as well last year. You know, that just introducing them, and kind of the same as you, like they've done karate. Leo wasn't too bothered. He'd go, enjoy it. It's good. The same as Lila with tennis. So she'll have a little knockabout. It's fun. The parents join in, but she's not asking me to play tennis on a Tuesday after her lesson. Like, come on, Dad, let's go and play tennis. Let's do it, whatever. So, but I think just giving them that introduction at a young age just allows them to sort of see into it, and then they will find it, I guess. I think pushing and kind of overexposure, I don't think it works in my experience.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think it's been my experience as well. You got to be really blind if you don't see that, which I can understand. If you yourself are really, really passionate about something and you really want your kid that, there's a danger there that you push some your own child into something that they actually
as well. And you feel you're doing it through a good place as well, because in my mind, when I first had a boy, 6 months old, I envisaged, because I did with my dad, he was my football manager, and we had loads of good memories. And I think, okay, we'll spend Saturday afternoons together. We'll be doing this, we'll be doing that. So you don't feel like it's a selfish endeavor. You feel like, if I get them to enjoy it, then it will be amazing for them. But really, it is a selfish endeavor. It is about you doing what you want with them. So you got to kind of take yourself back from that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, selfish endeavor from a good heart, because you want them to have amazing experiences as you had with your dad. I like the way you explained that. Perfect. So, look, man, going to something a little bit different. You just mentioned that you're already 10 years married with your wife, right? That's impressive. First of all, I mean, you see it more and more, right? It's just like it becomes more of normal that you get married and you pretty much get divorced, like, I don't know, same year, next year, the year after that. It's just more and more faster and faster that people don't, I don't know, hold it sacred. Like a marriage is sacred, or you go through struggles together and you work it out and you keep growing, right? So can you share a little bit, how do we call it, secrets, marriage secrets, or your experience of things that have really helped you to grow together, to stay together for already 10 years?
Oh, wow. So we've been together 17 years and married for 10. So it's, I'm 34, so we're together from sort of 17 years old. And so, I don't know, the secrets, I guess we're constantly learning. I wouldn't like to say that our relationship is up on this pedestal. Do you know what I mean? It's hard for me to say that. I think we're very different people, but we kind of got the same goals around the children. How we get there is very different. Like we're we're completely different characters, and I think that kind of works. That works nicely for us in how we approach things differently. It causes this arguments as well, for sure. But I don't know. I think kind of going through the Killer Instinct program and going through a few other things that we've done together around communication is just constant communication. That would be my number one. Scheduling time as well. Again, number one. Is funny. I was speaking to one of the other participants from Killer Instinct, and he was saying that scheduling time for her partner was more important than her kids. And at first, that kind of took me back. I was like, wow, like, because I would always go kids first, partner second, you know. And she sort of said, well, you know, kids are more resilient, and they will just adapt around your schedule a little bit more, whereas your partner is a bit more like they have an expectation more than the kids do. I thought that does make sense a little bit. So, you know, we try and get away a little bit together as well, just ourselves. The grandparents, they don't all live around here. So the kids go and see the grandparents every so often. That gives us a bit of time as well. They go for a sleepover there. 1 night, 2 nights or something. I think that's important, especially as you get into the hustle and bustle of a 5 and a 7-year-old with all their different clubs. The business, you know, everything. Like a month can go past and you haven't really had any real quality time together. It's important that you kind of to do that. I don't know if that answered it too well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's great, and I'm glad to hear that that your kids still have grandparents. It's so important, right? And they also get to connect with them. So it kind of, you know, it helps you to be able to connect with your wife, and it helps them to connect with with your parents and with her parents, right? So that's,
yeah, for sure. It's like this, the positives and negatives, because they don't all live local. So they don't have that constant interaction with the kids, which has its downsides. But the plus side is, like, when they do see them, it's for like a concentrated amount of time. So it might be for Friday through to Sunday. So that's the, you know, rather than just seeing them on a Wednesday after school or something like that. So the positives and negatives to that.
Yeah. Well, they always are, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're seeing my mother-in-law every single day because she's staying with us. She's very sick. Yeah, so we're taking care of her.
Okay.
That has a lot of positive and a lot of negative at the same time. So, I mean, it just, life works like that, right? As long as it's in balance, then it's okay. So, yeah, especially scheduling time. And I'm glad you mentioned, like, scheduling time, especially for them. And I agree and maybe don't agree in the fact that you just mentioned, like, yeah, I would have always put the kids first. And now my wife, right, to schedule that. I think that all depends, because what I'm doing right now is I'm actually working on it today, is make a list of what's most important to me. And then I will share that, like what you mentioned earlier, communication. I will share that with her and be like, okay, this is my list. And then she knows, and then you work around that.
For
I'm not
sure.
sure if that works, but I'm going to try and see. Because in the end, that's what it is, right? We try, but as long as you communicate with each other, and that's so powerful. And I'm really happy that you shared that. And I hope people picked up on that, because that's the key. Just share everything. And I don't know if that happened to you, but sometimes there's just things that you're like, you don't want to communicate about it because you're so afraid of how the other person is going to respond without even knowing, you know, just like and then finally you get the nerve to share it, and they just like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. And you're like, wow, I just worried for like 2 weeks, stressing, sweating my ass off, and it was all good. So
especially I can relate to that, Klaas, because like in my work, it's a small business. I run the business myself. I kind of, you know, I'm in my own headspace. So I'm very much used to doing things on my own, making the decisions. And sometimes, you know, a bad habit I've had is kind of making the family decisions without communicating to her. And that can cause issues. It's like, okay, we're going to be doing this, and then we're going to be doing this, and on Saturday we're going to be doing this. And, you know, she might agree with me, but the fact that I haven't spoke to her about it, it's just going to piss her off. Do you know what I mean? So definitely communication is key.
Exactly, I like that. So I'm just wondering, because I recently started with this, and I'm wondering if you have something similar. Do you have like one day where you communicate with her what your plan is for the week, in regards to work and life and what you guys gonna do for the weekend, or is it just ad hoc whenever you have this time scheduled? And
see, that's really poignant. You mentioned it today because like just yesterday we're talking. Last night, kids had gone to bed. We were talking, and we said, right, from now on, Sunday mornings. So we're gonna sit down Sunday morning, a cup of coffee, get some croissants or whatever, and then go through our week for the following week. So in the past we've been ad hoc, but like now we've set that as of yesterday. We set that we're going to do that on Sunday morning. So it generally is through to Sunday. We'd sort of talk about it, but yeah, we're scheduling it from now on. So that's funny that you mentioned that today.
And I like that you mentioned that. Maybe I should do that as well. Croissants and coffee and some orange juice. That's a good idea, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just set it up for success, right? Make it enjoyable.
Make it a little special. For me, it's like, I'm working on my plan. My wife walks by and I'm like, sweetie, so this is the plan for the week. What do you think? But you're absolutely right. I gotta do that better. I like that. Thanks. I appreciate that. So in that regard, what I hear a lot as well is that, yeah, that's great. Look, I listen now to Adam and he's planning everything. And I listen to you, Klaas, and you're planning everything. And that sounds great, man, but that's not me. I don't want to plan my life because if I plan something, it never happens the way I do. So what's the point? So what's your experience on that? Because I'm sure that what you plan for a whole week, not everything is going to happen, right? But
no.
What's the reason for you to say, okay, I'm going to plan this and discuss this with my wife to make sure that, we're on the same page?
I think it just gives you that direction, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? So if you you don't always have to follow through with the plan. Like things happen, do you know what I mean? Your kids could be ill or whatever, do you know what I mean? It might take over, but you've got to have the intention to do it, because otherwise, you're just drifting and floating, and you know yourself, mate. With young kids, like time can just elapse, and yeah. I think there's 101 excuses not to do it. So, but if you don't do it, it's going to have consequences. So, yeah, get it done, really.
Exactly. I like that. Yeah, especially what you mentioned, right? You get into a flow without realizing that life is taking you in that flow instead of you taking life with you in a flow that you want it to go. That's so important. You hear it so many times of, man, I call them zombie dads.
Yeah.
To implement that several months ago. It's just like, you don't plan anything, you don't do anything, and just go through life, right?
Yeah, for sure. And we've all had periods of time like that. I remember when Leo was first born, like I stopped working out. I wasn't playing football. I had a ankle reconstruction as well. So I was injured. So couldn't get back playing for a little while. And my whole focus at that time was just money. I'm just right. I'm going to earn money, because something kicked in me that was just like, I've got a son now, got a family. It's time. And then, like, you realize that you're out the house too much. Your body's looking like shit. You're not feeling good. You don't feel good. And it's like, are you providing for your family as a father? The answer is no, is it? So sometimes you've got to invest in yourself to be able to give to your family. If you don't do that, if you don't feel good about yourself and who you are, then you're not really modeling for your children. And when you are there, you're not in the right frame of mind. So, yeah.
Brilliant, man. I love it. That's exactly what I teach, is that fatherhood is not about providing for your kids in the way of financially and being away for like 80 hours, working your ass off. Fatherhood is about that whole balance of making sure that, you have to financially provide for them. I mean, they need stuff. We all need to eat, right? And we all need to sleep somewhere nice, preferably.
Yeah, sure.
However, the emotional aspect and the aspect that you're there as a role model, it might even be way more important for them to grow up and become just impressive young adults in their own rights, right? So I really appreciate you sharing that. That was spot on.
For sure. And that was kind of like one of the main reasons that I set up my own business is I didn't want to be on somebody else's schedule. And, I get to do the school drops. I get to do the pickups. If there's a performance on at school, I'm not clocking in, I'm not clocking out. I have to work more. There's not, I probably do more hours. You know, it's your own business. You're passionate about it. You're going to end up doing more hours, but you can do the hours when you want. So that's kind of the kind of way off of having your own business. And you know, I couldn't do it any differently now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's, in my opinion, that's exactly what Fearless Father is all about. Being able to construct your own life the way you want it without being afraid of, you know, or what everybody else thinks, first of all. And second of all, of course, the fear of failing or not succeeding, but being able to bring your kid. I mean, for me, I love it. I love being able to dress my kids, get them ready for school, drop them off at school, pick them up again. That's just, I mean, it might be silly, something small, but it's just, I mean, I'm glad I'm in a spot that we can do that, right?
No, it's important to me. And, you know, you get to the school gate. I don't know what it's like where you are, but there's not many dads there. So it's a privileged position to be able to do that. No, and I enjoy it and I do like it. And it means, like, I get up at 4:30. I work before the kids get up. And then that clears that time in my day. So when they get up, like in my head, that's how I do it in my head, right? I work early. Now I've got a bit of time. So I drop the kids, then I go to the gym. So that time between sort of 8 and 10, I've created in my day by getting up early and working early. So then when they get up, I'm doing the breakfast. My wife's there, you know, we're doing breakfast together. We've got this nice time. And yeah, I think it's good. It's, you know, they're not going to want dad around. I was saying to my wife the other day, because I run the holiday camp, which the kids come to. So like they love it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, it's amazing. We're going to work with dad," and like that's not going to last forever. When they're 14, 15, they're not going to want to be hanging around with me too much. So you got to just at the moment while they love it, you just got to try and enjoy it, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, and you talked a little bit about your, you know, how you set it up so you get everything done, right? Because before we start with the interview, I was wondering, man, how does Adam get everything done? Because we're talking about you got your own business, you're married, so that needs attention. You spoke about that a little bit. And then you got 2 kids with all their activities and all that stuff, and then you're also doing Killer Instinct, which is I can vouch and share everybody. It's very intense, very intense. It takes a lot of time every single day to work on that. How do you make sure that everything just continues to stay as smooth as possible?
Smooth. I think I'd love to be smooth. I'm not sure I'm there yet, but I definitely think that early morning routine for me, just getting up, getting a jump on the day, feeling like I'm ahead of others. So if you get up at that time, I've done my work. I'm ahead of where other people are gonna be. That works for me. Also, just being, you know, I don't really watch too much TV. I don't do too many other like social media stuff, like trying to eliminate all of those distractions. If I watch TV, it's generally like with my wife, something she wants to watch that we chill out together with. Or if I'm just in bed falling asleep, I watch a bit of TV. But trying to eliminate the things that are not a priority to me. So I'm just focusing in on the things that, you know, are a priority.
Exactly. Yeah, that's powerful. Eliminate all the things that are not important to you. And how, because this is the thing, man, I'm trying to do the same, but the thing is, some things are made in such a way that even though you know that they're not useful or adding any value, especially social media, Facebook is freaking the king, right?
Yeah.
You go on it, you want to do some work, and before you know, you spend 30 minutes and you're actually wondering, like, what did I just do? All right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
especially when you're putting your business, like your business is using Facebook. That's the same for me. So you're using that platform so you can kind of bullshit yourself into thinking you're working, because you go on there for the first 5 minutes is work. Then you get distracted. Then you get pulled somewhere else, and then you get pulled somewhere else. So it kind of, it's deadly. I don't know. I remember reading this thing. I was preparing for this job interview years ago, and it said that on average, people spend 4 hours a day watching TV. Now, this is a few years ago. So I think that probably has switched a bit more to social media and less TV. But at least 4 hours a day on stuff that's really not that productive to your life. And I remember thinking, wow, that's a half a working day. Like in my mind, back then I was thinking, right, that's like half a job. You could earn half the amount of income doing something else or whatever. But like then you have kids and it's a bit different. So, but you got a certain amount of time each day to get productive stuff done or stuff that's going to be of value to you. If you can cut out the other stuff.
Exactly. So what's your trick or your habit to make sure that you don't get into that trap of staying too long on social media, doing things that are not business related?
I don't know. I kind of do this thing, right? It's probably going to sound a bit weird, and I'm going to share it with everybody. But I kind of like try and detach myself and think, what would I think if I was watching me? Right. So I do it at work as well. So I think if I'm working with youngsters, I'm delivering a session, and I try and think, right, okay, like the kids are really annoying me or something, and I'm getting a bit like, I don't know, a bit shouty or whatever. I think, okay, step back. Like, what would I think if I was watching? And then that kind of triggers. It's like if I'm just sat on the sofa on social media and it's like, okay, what would I think if that was me watching? What would I say to myself? And that kind of works for me sometimes, just kick me up the backside to say, okay, like, let's get some stuff done now.
Yeah, exactly. So is that person that's looking at you, is that like your higher self? I mean, I know that with Killer Instinct, you either have worked on it, you're going to work on it. That, you know, you project yourself like, okay, this is the ultimate father that I want to be. This is the ultimate entrepreneur that I want to be. Do you have that written out for you? Have you worked on that?
No, we haven't. I think that's coming up in this phase now that we're going to be doing that ultimate vision stuff. But I guess, yeah, that's kind of what it is, mate. It's that person that's kind of like, this is who you want to be. And what do they think of you just pissing about, like, you know? And it's a difficult one because we all need that time to just completely unwind, and you might just need that 45 minutes if it's been a real hectic day just to do whatever you're going to do. But again, I guess it comes down to scheduling. If you're scheduling, I'm going to take 45 minutes now just to do nothing, just to peruse Instagram or whatever, and then that's fine. And then at 9 o'clock, I'm going to do this. Then I got no problem with that. But if it's like you want to be doing something else, but you're doing that instead, then that's kind of, yeah, where you have to kind of check yourself a little bit.
Exactly. I like that. That's a discussion I used to have with Niji. Is like, this is not good. And I'd be like, no, you shouldn't watch TV, right? I'm like, why not? It all depends on how you schedule it and how important you make it. Like what you mentioned, sitting on the couch with your wife, watching TV, just, relaxing, unwinding a little bit. It makes sense. So I like that. So
yeah, no, for sure. Like I said to my wife, that she's saying, with the Killer Instinct, you're so busy, you're doing this. I said, well, the thing is, like, you, her, and the kids are like one of my top 3 goals, So like the other goal is around business, the other goal is around health and fitness. So like that's number 1 is her and the kids. So if you just want to sit and watch a movie on the sofa, like that's as important as working out or as important as putting my strategy together, whatever. Because if that's making her happy and making our relationship better, then on one hand, yeah, it's not achieving my entrepreneur goals, it's not achieving my health and fitness goals or whatever. But if it's making for a happier life, then, fair enough. And it is guilt-free for me then, because I can say it's for her, can't I?
Getting that nice excuse in.
Yeah.
You're brilliant. Like that.
Yeah.
So listen, man, you've been talking about, how important it is to spend time with your kids and all the stuff that you do with your kids, which is absolutely brilliant. Then you also mentioned like how important it is to get that special time, to schedule that time with your wife, to make sure that the marriage stays, flourishing, growing, so to say. What about me time? What about just, time for Adam? How important is that to you? And do you schedule that as well? And what are some of the things that you must do to make sure that, you're you?
Yeah. I think like again, getting up early in the morning gives you that kind of clear time on your own. So I get up before the rest of them. So that's cool. I like that. Knee on the killer instinct. It always says about being an introvert. I wouldn't class myself as an introvert, but I do like having that clear space to get a head start. Also the gym. I like the gym. I think that is me time there. But then other than that, I'm not really. I don't know. I don't really feel the need to have too much time on my own. I've always had loads of hobbies. So my wife's always really been supportive and kind of great with that. If I'm off doing some football, for example, in the past, around all the boys in the changing room, having that time when you're all being big kids, that was great. And then also snowboarding. I do snowboarding, and me and my pals have gone away. Even when I had kids, we'd go away and just do a 4 or 5 days snowboarding all together. Just become a kid again and laugh and joke and drink too many beers and do all that kind of stuff as well. So I don't feel too guilty about having that time, because I do feel like I do spend a lot of time and give a lot of time to the family as well. So if I was that guy that was going to the pub after work every day, then going on a holiday, snowboarding with your friends is probably, too much as well. But because I'm doing the school pickup, school drop, doing all the clubs, running the kids' football, doing all that kind of stuff. So if I do take 4 days away snowboarding with my pals or whatever, then I kind of justify it that way.
Nice. So you mentioned a couple of times in what you just said, be a big kid again. I think that's so important. So I'm glad you bring that up. What are some of the ways that you, because that's what our kids do now, they bring out that big kid in us again to try. And what are some of the things that you do, or maybe you don't, but I think you do, that you justify that you have kids and you do some silly things that you normally wouldn't do?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I think, again, if I look at my work, I link it to my work. Like when I was in my 20s, I never really liked working with younger children. So like 4 to sort of 10. I liked working with teenagers, older children. Then when I had my own kids, you kind of realize, and also with age, you kind of take yourself a little bit less seriously. And then, so now I just love working with 4, 5, 6-year-olds, doing sports with them, just being silly, just being fun, and just kind of seeing the smiles on their faces. I don't know, it's hard to give an example, but, going to the swimming pool, being a shark, chasing the kids, doing all those fun stuff, mate. Going in the park and just not being a dad that sat down on his phone in the park, but chasing the kids around down the slide and stuff. Like, they love it. You can love it as well. Do you know what I mean? It's just letting go of judgment, I guess, really.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. I like that. Now, I'm glad you mentioned that. And also that you mentioned, like, there's so many dads out there and moms for that matter. They just sit around the playground and just watching their phone instead of even at least sit and watch your kid. That's important. Yesterday I helped the kid while another one was turning around the swing, and his fingers got stuck in the chain. Oh. And the kid was crying and crying and crying. I see all the parents just look up from their phone and they first have to adjust, like, what's going on, and nobody responded. So, yeah. Anyway, that happens. But yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I play tag with him all the time, and I got to quit because I keep running other kids over. I get too much into it. I don't like them to tag me, so I get too, how do you say that?
Competitive.
Yeah, exactly. I get too competitive. Thank you. So yeah, man, look, from everything I've heard with your business, 10 years married, your kids doing all their stuff and everything, man, what is there, like, one key to success? Because I call this success, right? I've already mentioned to you, you're absolutely what embodies a fearless father. What would be, like, one key to success that you can share with other fathers out there that they could take with them? And if that would do that one thing consistently, they could achieve what you got.
That's a tough one. I feel like it needs more time than and more thought. I don't know. I think just time is so important. I think, like, don't get me wrong, providing for your kids is important, but just be there and do the stuff with them. And I know it's probably easier for me. I'm a sports coach. My kids love sports, and it probably comes a little bit easier for me. But yeah, I don't know, Klaas, it doesn't seem like deep enough for what you was asking there. But yeah, just be present and be there and just give them the time. Like they don't really know. Like, for example, holidays. My kids have gone around the world holidaying, but if you ask them what the best place they've been to, like we've been to a few weekend holiday things in England and a few other things, like they don't pick the most expensive one. They don't pick the one that was like you flew on the plane the furthest away. They just probably pick the one that you were like there together the most. And they're oblivious to like that. They just want your time, really. That's kind of what they want the most, especially at this young age.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, being present. And I guess also because what comes with being present is that you're going to be challenged a lot, right? Because if you're not there, then you don't see what's going on, so you don't know what's going to happen. And of course, being present all the time, that's going to come up with a lot of challenges of how to respond, how to react, and that will help you grow. The more present, well, that's the way I've experienced it, and I think you as well. The more present you are, the faster you grow towards your ultimate self, where you want to be, right?
Yeah, sure, I agree with that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think the thing that kind of was a real turning point for me was becoming self-employed. I think I know that's not an option for everybody, but being able to schedule my own time. Like today, for example, today is an inset day at school. So the kids are off school. So my son is in the garden now. That's why I'm in my bedroom doing this interview, because my office is like backs onto his football pitch. So I'd be doing this interview having a football like banged against the window the whole time. So he's there, and then my daughter's she's there watching a movie downstairs. They got all their snacks laid up, but like they're off school. I'm working. I'm doing this interview with you, but I'm about. If something happens, they can just come in here, speak to me, and yeah. That I don't know if that answers your question, but being around, there's something secure for them, knowing that I'm around much more.
Exactly.
I got to work, and like it comes with its pressure. I remember when Leo was younger, so I was in my office, and he'd be up at my window crying, like, "Daddy, Daddy." I'm like, I got to get work done, and he's like, he didn't understand that. So he'd say to me today, I say, "Oh, I got this interview now. I got to do that. Then I play 10 minutes of football with you. Then I got to go to the school, whatever." So I tell him like what's going on, and like now they're just adjusted. They know if Daddy's working, I've got to do that. Let them know I can't do that for half an hour. Then I come and play. But yeah, it's that kind of adjustment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I gotta agree, man. I mean, I'm blessed in that way. And well, today they're at school, but sometimes I had a live interview and they just come in and
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love that, and I had it happen also on the other end. Right? I wouldn't be surprised if your daughter or son comes running in and jumps on your bed, and then no, don't apologize. I love that, because that's what dadpreneurs are about, and everybody needs to see that's the beauty of it, that we are in that space, right? The only thing is that, and we're out of time, but maybe we talk about that another time. Is that patience thing, right? Because you're so focused and you want to deliver the right interview, or you want to get that work thing done, and then your kids come in and then they want something, and as you mentioned, they don't understand what you're doing. They just understand that they need something, and they want that now.
Yeah.
Especially when they're young. And then you're like,
Yeah.
So, anyway, man, that's maybe a topic for next time, because we're already at almost an hour. So I really appreciate it for you being on with me. Just one last thing, man, because I always give the opportunity, if there's fathers watching this and they got some more questions for you, or maybe there are some fathers listening that are living close to you and they want their children to join your camps when you organize them, right? How can they stay in contact with you? How can they follow you?
Yeah, great. Well, feel free to get in touch. Then I'm always trying to help people and help out. So if people want to get in touch, then feel free. So this has been shared on Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So people can just add me on Facebook and then drop me a message on there. Then feel free, and then I'll direct them to the camps and so on. So no problem whatsoever.
Awesome, man. I'll make sure that I'll share that for the people that are watching this as a recording. All the information are in the links. So again, Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to being on. I didn't even know your kids were home. So appreciate that. Enjoy them. And everybody else, have a fantastic day. And we will talk to each other soon. Take care.
Take care, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.